Hi, Peter Robertson here, William Porches Properties, coming to you from the local on Waratah Avenue. This is one of our best eateries in the neighbourhood. Fantastic pizzas, fantastic food, great coffee, long mac, wine bar. They're licensed, so we highly recommend them. And of course, with our slightly relaxed social distancing rules, we can now come out and eat in restaurants and cafes again and enjoy some company of friends and have a little bit more of a step and return to normality. The other big change in WA, and as some friends of mine in Sydney said, you know, the sanctuary of COVID-free WA is we get the advantage of being able to travel around our state again. So the lockdown of the intrastate travel has lifted largely, so certainly through the bottom half of the state, Perth, surrounds, Wheatbelt, we can now interact with the Great Southern region again, which is fantastic. And I know ahead of the long weekend that's coming up or around the corner, there's going to be a lot of people planning on getting back down south, down to those beautiful coastal regions and enjoying the freedom of being able to travel around our state again. With that, we've got some fantastic properties in those regional areas for sale. I've got, so I'll put some links below, but some brilliant properties on the south coast in the Shire of Albany, on the Nullakai Peninsula, which is the beautiful properties that we've been a little bit hampered from being able to sell and show to people over the last couple of months, so that restriction lifting this week is fantastic for them. A bit of an update on you on how our home opens are going in general buyer feedback. Buyer sentiment is definitely improving and lifting as these social restrictions start to lift, certainly at least in WA. It's having a positive psychological effect on the market, which we're seeing. Home opens have been busy, private inspections have been positive. I'm now doing midweek home opens as well. We've launched some really interesting properties. We've got one on Florence Road in Netherlands, which we opened last night as a twilight viewing. Had some fantastic groups through that, some really good inquiry levels there. We've got some R60 development sites in Netherlands that are getting a lot of inquiry as well. Seems to be like on every couple of hours an inquiry is coming in on those, which is really interesting to see that lift. This week we're launching a fantastic property in Dalkeith, number 2 Allenby Road. We're running an online auction for that, so that's using the open negotiation platform. So you'll see the marketing going out into the marketplace on that, open again for the first time as an auction campaign this weekend with the reviewed price expectations and a very clear directive from our owners to sell that. Find the market, meet the market, engage with that market, but sell it, which is fantastic. So there's new properties coming into play. We are actually seeing that statistically there's less properties for sale in Perth currently than there was at the same time a year ago, and perhaps that's people are going through this COVID-19 disruption period and deciding that perhaps they'll hold off and wait and see if they should go to the market in spring or in summer once this is behind us. There's a lot of talk which I'd like to tackle head on about, you know, the market falling further. Will it? Won't it? A little bit of fear-mongering going on as well. Certainly the economic impact of the stimulus packages is going to be something that we will have to deal with going forwards, but you know, Australians are a resilient lot, and I think we're quite resourceful, and I think we are going to find our way through that process step by step, and I don't think the sky is going to fall in by any measure. And certainly probably all indicators are that Western Australia and the Perth market is going to work its way through that space, probably with less of a loss in values than we're going to see on the East Coast. So you have to remember that I think WA makes up something like 10% of the real estate market of Australia. So we're a small factor in the national statistics, and of course most of the news that we hear and read and see is focused nationally on what's happening there. So we've got to keep it in perspective for WA, and hopefully these videos help people with that. So strong buyer inquiry, strong levels of private inspections, doing twilights as well, launching new properties to the market that are very sensibly priced for today's market. I would say every buyer that we're dealing with is taking the view that it's a reasonably long-term purchase. So I think the average time for people to own a house is something like 12 years in this neighbourhood. And certainly the people we're selling to are taking a 10 to 15, if not 20-year view of their purchase. And in that context, their view is that, look, maybe prices will erode a little bit further in the next 12 months, but certainly over the next 2 to 3 years that will be recovered, and the country is going to go from strength to strength, and we're going to move on past this, and it will be something that will disappear in the rear vision mirror over the horizon behind us. So buyers, those sorts of buyers are more interested in about finding the right property, changing to something that suits them better now, be that upsizing, downsizing, all the things that drive people to change their place of residence haven't gone away. It's still actively driving the market forwards, and those buyers are taking positions when they find the right property, pay a fair price for it today, and the wheel of commerce continues to turn, and people are going forwards with their lives. They're not putting their lives on hold because of something that is going to be a disruption for, you know, maybe another 6 to 12 months. When I say another disruption, obviously we are forecasting what's going to happen with the economic recovery, and the economic impact is certainly going to go for a lot longer than that, but everything is relative in the marketplace. So if you're buying and selling, as the old saying goes, if you're buying and selling in the same market, then everything is relative, and you're not really losing anything by selling. Perhaps if something has dropped arguably 10%, everything else has dropped 10% as well. And if anything, all that's happened is your transaction costs have lessened, because you're paying stamp duty and agents' fees are based as a percentage of that transaction. So transaction costs are down, everything is relative. I would encourage people to remember that. And I think we are dealing with buyers who are more interested in finding the right fit for them and what they're after with that 10 to 15 year view than anything else. So hopefully that's given some insight into the marketplace. It's great to be back in a cafe, great to be having a long Mac. That's my coffee of choice. Excuse me for a second. It was smelling too good and I was talking too much. So have a great week. Hope this has helped with our market minute update, or market 3 or 4 minute update, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much.